Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be how to recover attraction after turning her off. So, this email is a good email. It just shows how hard it is to do more things right than wrong. Especially like this guy, he had a high school crush that he always had. I guess he was probably overweight, out of shape, wasn't very popular, was kind of quiet. But ever since then, ever since high school, he's leveled up. He's gotten in the gym, taking care of himself. So he had a chance to start dating this girl that he really liked. But he quickly became really needy and clingy, turned her off. Then she canceled 2 dates on him. And then he went into no contact. Now, 6 months later, she's reaching out, but he's kind of fumbling the football instead of just making dates. So it just, goes to show it's, man, most guys have never dated a really hot girl in their eyes, or at least what they think is hot. And then when they do, they can't help but fall all over themselves and step on their own dick. And so, everybody's been there at some point, but that's why understanding the book backwards and forwards is one of the reasons why I say you got to read it 10 to 15 times. So, like, in the 6 months that he wasn't talking to her, it doesn't really, it seems like all this happened before he found my work. And now he's been through the book he's been following me since January. So it's about 8 months now. But still, he's gotten through the book 4 whole times in 8 months. So it takes him 2 months to go through the book, a 250-page book, just once. So if you're new, the best way to get through the book so you can get the reads in is to get an audiobook. And the links are on my website. You can even get them for free with an Audible free trial. There's links on my website for that. Also, in the video description of this video, there are links if you want to do an Audible free trial and get the book for free. And so you put the book on the audiobook on 2-speed and then follow along in a digital or physical copy. This is obviously a hardcover version. But if you're a free member on the website, you have access to the books. So you could go buy an audiobook and then follow along with a digital or physical copy. You can also get the Kindle version because they have what's called Whisper Sync. And so as the words are being spoken, they get highlighted by the audiobook. And if you put it on 2-speed, you can get through it in 4 hours. So to be following me for 8 months and still only get through the book 4 times, that's not somebody that's really a serious student. And you'll see as this girl comes back, he's just kind of fumbling the football here when it's just such an easy thing to re-engage. If he'd actually taken it seriously and practiced what's in the book, and then she would have come back, he would have had some practice with some other ladies, so he would have been much smoother. But instead, it's like she reaches back out and nothing much has really changed with him. So that's the danger is that he ends up turning her off for exactly the same reasons. Because again, he didn't practice anything that was in the book. He barely got through it 4 times in 8 months. I mean, I get emails all the time from guys. They go through the book 4 times in a week when they start following. They're really serious because they're trying to figure this out. You got to participate in your own rescue and take this shit seriously. Nobody's going to fix you or save you. You got to do that yourself. So he says, "Hi, Coach. I've been following your work since January, and I read your book 4 times. Through my entire life, I was a rather shy and neurotic person with almost zero experience with women, and I just turned 26, so as you can guess, I often have a hard time to forgive myself for taking action in the regard of women so late." Well, that's why it's helpful to get out and mingle and socialize where all the ladies are doing, and go do fun things you love and enjoy with other like-minded people and develop your social skills, develop your personality. A relationship with another human being is you're going to interact one-on-one. You're not going to be interacting on a digital device. The digital device is just simply used to arrange the get-togethers, not get to know somebody. So he says, back in high school, I had a crush on one girl who really knocks my socks off, but back then I really wasn't able to do something about it because I was just too insecure, not in shape, didn't have a purpose, and I just couldn't even think that I could possibly ever be with her. In November, after 6 years after high school, she happened to start a job in a gym in a nearby town. In this moment, I was in a good point in my life. I took care of myself during the 6 years and highly improved. I promised myself to try to seduce this woman, and after frequenting a few times at the gym and initiating conversations with her, she started to text me. And we did so for like 2 days, and I invited her out for our first date. Pretty good, pretty smooth so far. I was surprised how smooth our interactions were. She really made things easy for me, and I could tell there was high interest to begin with. She started really fast to initiating touching, bumping, hugging, telling me private secrets, etc. On the first date, I kind of acted like a statue due to the fact that this was my first date in life with a woman that is a 10 out of 10 for me, so I didn't have the guts to go for the kiss. I know what it feels like. I've been there. But you got to soldier on. You got to roll the dice and go for it, because if you hesitate, you will masturbate. On our second date, I no longer hesitated, and we ended up with heavy petting in the backseat of my car, but I wasn't able to go any further because she told me she's not like that and never did so early with any guy, so we just kept caressing. So you took her delay as an outright denial. When it really was going on in the backseat of the car was you're just going too fast. So all she's basically saying is, hey, pump the brakes, slow it down a little bit. So this is laid out in the book, but again, in 8 months, you barely got through it 4 times. So that's why it didn't really click. You didn't know what to do. You just turned into a statue, and you went, "Oop, I must be a robot. She said to slow down. I must just stop and give up." It's a bad way to go, dude. On third date, I screwed up by acting needy and insecure, and I saw how attraction drops immensely. What did Confucius say? Success depends upon prior preparation. Without said preparation, there is sure to be failure. So you had all that time while you were in no contact. You could have been reading the book and learning it, mastering it, going out with other girls, getting good. If you'd have hooked up with a few other ladies, then you wouldn't have been so rough and inexperienced in that back seat. You could have been wearing out the springs in your car. But that didn't happen. From then, I started to receive wishy-washy excuses, and she canceled on me 2 times, so I left her be and no contact, and then I found your work. So with Doc Love, the late great Doc Love, he had a rule: 1 chance per girl per lifetime. She cancels the date, she's out forever. That was his attitude, because she disrespected you and your time. And if your relationship starts on that, there'll be other things she'll do to disrespect you. So, because if she cancels on you and doesn't offer a reschedule, then even if she continues reaching out, you're never going to bring up getting together again unless she brings it up first. So I suspect as soon as she reached back out, or maybe he called her a few days or a week or so later, set another date, and she canceled that one because her interest was low, because again, he stepped on his own dick and just didn't take the time to learn the book, so he wasn't prepared when she came back. I say this stuff all the time in the videos, but guys don't listen, because most people major in minor things are just fucking lazy. Thumbing through the book and watching some videos and cherry picking with no practice, you're not going to get better. After 6 months, she started reaching out, and I kept conversations light and short. And after many attempts from her to make me invite her, she finally asked me to meet up. Well, the right thing to do in this case was to not try to set a date, because again, she canceled 2 dates. So she's got to bring it up. So as 7 Principles to Get an Ex Back says, the article and video I did about 10, 11 years ago, it lays everything out, what you're supposed to do. In this case, she brings it up, then you make a date. If she texts you, hey, how you been, blah, 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 you send 2 or 3 text replies back and forth, and you say, hey, I got to run, talk to you later. If she calls you, you talk for 2 or 3 minutes, hey, I got to run, talk to you later. And one of 2 things will happen. She'll either bring up getting together, or she'll stop contacting you. So she brought it up, but he says, I still live with parents due to their health conditions, so I invited her to my town, and we had a great date. She again started to text and sending me gifts every day, and I texted with her very little, and I have a problem with it. It seems to me very counterintuitive. It makes me feel like I'm ignoring her, and can tell she feels the same. Well, again, if she reaches out and she brought up getting together, then you set the date. Then after that, when she reaches out, then you can make a date. But again, this is what happens. You didn't take the time to really learn the material. And so this is what you miss when you don't go through the book 10 or 15 times. You miss the subtle nuances of what's in the book. And so the girl's reaching out. You don't really know what to do. You're just like a statue because you're like, this doesn't compute. This does not compute. Coach, what do I do? This does not compute. I didn't make definite plans with her because I was about to go for delegation. And it was hard to tell when I would be available. Go for delegation? Well, I don't know what that is, but okay. Since I didn't set a firm date, I reached out and asked. Yeah, you should have done that. Since I didn't set a firm date, I reached out and asked the following weekend, and she replied that she will maybe go with her cousin on some drifting cars performance, and she will let me know. She didn't. So again, this is why you don't pursue. The girl canceled and blew you off twice. She has to do all the pursuing. She initially brought up getting together, so you correctly made a date. And then after that, each time she kept reaching out, it's like you didn't make a date. And then you started pursuing her. And so when you do that, it's not her idea, and this is why you get more wishy-washy answers. Because her interest was already low when she started reaching out. And that's why you got to let her do 100% of the pursuing, because she basically ghosted you. And then she came back, but you're not following instructions. And so you're fumbling the football here with something that's a situation that's actually pretty easy. So she said she will let me know, she didn't, on Sunday if she comes back earlier so we can meet up at night. So you agreed to a maybe date. You don't do maybe dates. Again, that's in the book. But if you read it 4 times in 8 months, you're going to miss those little subtle nuances. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. In general, she makes me feel like I'm a second or third priority. Well, you did that to yourself by acting like a bitch too much. And started to doubt if she really had a high interest to begin with. Monday morning, she posted a series of stories on Instagram with some 2 other guys, and she didn't mention about, along with her cousin. And then after a couple hours, she sent me a gift with hearts like nothing happened. So when you're watching her stories, she sees that you're watching her stories. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be. That's what no contact is. You don't creep every one of her social media posts. Again, you're not really listening or following me. That's why you're fumbling the football all over the place with a situation. It's actually quite. The only thing you really did good was in the very beginning and getting the number and getting the ball rolling. But after that, but again, you didn't know about my work by then. But here we are 8 months later, and you're still making the same mistakes as a rookie. That's where the book can help fill in the gap, because you can learn from my experiences when you spend the time with the material, because you don't have any. And if you don't have any experience, you don't really take reading the book seriously, you're basically throwing darts in a blizzard. It's not going to go well. He says, then after a couple hours, she sent me a gift with hearts like nothing happened. I just ignored it. Now after a week, she texted me on Sunday and asked about meeting up on the week. I have second shifts this week, and I don't want to make dates in the morning. And at the same time, I don't want to make it 6 days in advance. Why not? If she really likes you, she'll keep the date. So I replied to her that she reaches out to me on Thursday or Friday. Please tell me what I need to improve, or if I should even bother with her. Thanks for everything. Well, take it seriously. This is your life, dude. Read the book. I mean, I say it all the time, but it's like guys like you follow me 8 fucking months and you barely get through the book 4 times, and you're just stepping all over your dick trying to make a date, not knowing what you're doing. And if you knew the book, you would have been like, that would have been fine to make a date 6 days in advance. But because you're so scared and so afraid, and you're desperate, and you don't think she'll keep the date, you don't make a date at all. And then you put the ball back into her court and tell her to reach out to you Thursday or Friday. So you're not really being direct and decisive. And it's like the book is not going to help you if you don't read it and you don't apply it. Or, especially when you're doing the opposite of it. So it's like, come on, man, you got to participate in your own rescue. Nobody's going to fix your life. Nobody's going to give you the experience. You got to go out and take it. You got to go out and get it. Because if you start going out on dates with this girl and say you progress a little further, maybe you get a little good taste of the baloney curtains from her, then what? You've only been through the book 4 times, and you'll really fuck it up when your emotions become engaged because you can't think straight. Because again, to her, she's the ultimate fantasy to you. So again, you had 8 whole months to potentially get ready for her to come back, and you just didn't do that. You're just watching videos, being lazy, cherry picking, and now she comes back, and you're just fumbling the football. It's a real shame. But as a coach, I can't care more about your life than you do. If you don't give a shit and it's not important enough to you to read the book and learn this stuff and keep from fucking up the girl you've had a crush on for, 6, 7 years, however many years it is. It's like, well, that's a you problem. So take this seriously, dude. It's your fucking life. Because if you don't, you're going to fuck this up. And then you're going to, and then eventually, if you keep fucking up like this, you probably will just disappear forever and think you're a clueless guy. So if that's what you want, keep doing what you're doing, because your approach sucks and your game sucks. It's just terrible and atrocious. So you can do better, but again, you got to make the effort. Nobody's going to do it for you. So if you got a question or challenge and you want to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab or coaching tab at the top of your screen on any page of my website, and book a coaching session with yours truly. If you haven't already signed up for our exclusive premium members only content, and the video description is video, there are links to join on YouTube, or you can join on Spotify or our website, understandingrelationships.com. Just click the plans tab when you get there, and you can do a 7-day free trial on our website to check out what content you get for your money. And if you choose an annual plan, you can get a 25% discount for paying the whole year's premium up front. We got a shit ton of extra content for our premium members. Basically, this is obviously a free video newsletter on Tuesday, and then you get a paid one. So as it stands right now, I'm doing 7 free ones per week, 7 paid ones, plus you get the replays of all the live streams that are behind the paywall. Our live streams are on Thursdays and Fridays. Thursday 2 to 4, Friday 1 to 3. That's Eastern Standard Time zone, same time zone as Miami and New York. So if you've got questions, bring them to our live streams, and myself, Chunky, and the girls will get them answered for you. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon.